Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Saima Amin from Jamia Hamdard. Today we are going to talk on the module method of preparation and characterization of nuosomes from the paper Novel Drug Delivery Systems 2. My learning objectives for today's module will be the method of preparation of nuosomes. The nuosomes will be prepared by the variety of methods indicated in the literature. For example, sonication, multiple membrane extrusion, Henjani-Villa method, microfluidization method, transmembrane pH gradient method, bubble method, membrane contractor method, handshaking method, or preparation of nuosomes from pronuosomes, or by preparation through reverse evaporation method, or the easiest one is using the ether injection method. After the preparation of nuosomes, the learning objective will be focusing on the characterization of the prepared nuosomes. For example, we have to characterize the nuosomes for their surface and for their morphology. The stability of nuosome is equally important, so we have to analyze that part also. The stability is connected with the entrapment efficiency of nuosomes, so we will be assessing the entrapment efficiency of the nuosomes. Dispersibility of nuosomes and other surface properties will also be given weightage. Ultimately, we have to understand the permeation of the prepared nuosome across a biological membrane or through a synthetic membrane like the dialysis bag. The preparation of nuosomes, as we know that these nuosomes are the vesicles which are prepared by using non-ionic surfactants along with cholesterol and subjecting the content for evaporation. So ultimately, by all the methods which are indicated in the literature, we are left with the unicentric or multicentric vesicles called as nuosome. So here we have classified nuosomes broadly into two categories depending upon the approaches adopted. Conventionally, these nuosomes are prepared by sonication method, ether injection method, handshaking method, Henjani-Villa method, transmembrane pH gradient method, reverse phase evaporation method, bubbling with nitrogen method, and finally the microfluidization. All these methods are called as the conventional methods because the novelty is not indicated clearly. Only we have to mix the content going for the evaporation of the solvent used, and ultimately we are left with the vesicles. Coming to the modifications or the novelty done in the conventional methods, we are now focusing on the novel methods to prepare the same vesicles, the nuosomes. In novel methods, we are adopting pronuosome approach to make the nuosomes, or membrane contactor method, or multiple membrane extrusion method. All these are resulting in a small size, scalable, reproducible vesicles, the nuosomes. Conventional methods. Sonication. Here, an alicate of drug solution in buffer is added to the surfactant cholesterol mixture. The mixture is probe sonicated at 60 degrees centigrade for 1 to 5 minutes using a sonicator. The longer sonication leads to smaller particle size. It has been observed in case of methotrexate nuosomes that encapsulation efficiency of the prepared nuosomes decreased significantly after sonication for 2 minutes. Also, sonication results in small unilamellar types of nuosomes. Therefore, the sonication time is affecting the encapsulation efficiency and the size of the nuosomes formed. This slide shows a probe sonicator with a display unit indicating the frequency used in sonication and the time set for sonication. Provision for studying the temperature also is available in new models of the probe sonicator. To form the neosomes with probe sonicator, we need a vessel in which we add the components and subject the components to sonication. Usually, the small multilamellar vesicles are formed at the bottom and small unilamellar vesicles are present as a supernatant layer. Bubble method. It's a novel technique involving one-step preparation without the use of organic solvents like ether or chloroform. The bubbling unit consists of a round bottom flask with 3 necks positioned in a water bath to control the temperature. Water-cooled reflex condenser and thermometer are positioned in the first and second neck respectively, while the third neck is supplied with nitrogen. Cholesterol and surfactants are dispersed together in a buffer of pH around 7.4 at 70 degrees centigrade. The dispersion is then mixed for 15 seconds with high shear homogenizer and immediately is bubbled at 70 degrees centigrade using the nitrogen purge. Transmembrane pH gradient method, also called as drug uptake process or a method for remote loading. In this method, surfactant and cholesterol are dissolved in chloroform. The solvent is then evaporated under reduced pressure to get a thin film. The so formed film is then hydrated with 300 millimolar citric acid solution at pH 4 by vertex mixing. The multilamellar vesicles are formed, which are then frozen and thawed 3-4 times and are finally subjected to sonication. The neosome suspension is obtained after adding the aqueous solution containing 10 mg per ml of drug. The pH of the sample is then raised to 7 to 7.2 with 1 molar disodium phosphate. The mixture is then later heated at 60 degrees centigrade. Hand shaking method. It is also called as thin film hydration method. Here, surfactant and cholesterol, usually in a concentration of 1.5 into 10 raised to the power minus 4 molar, are dissolved in a volatile organic solvent such as diethyl ether, chloroform or methanol using a round bottom flask. The organic solvent is then removed at temperature 200 degrees centigrade using rotary evaporator. Thin layer of solid mixture is deposited on the wall of the flask and is then rehydrated with aqueous phase at 0 to 60 degrees centigrade with gentle agitation. Microfluidization method. In this method, 2 streams, the one containing the drug and the other containing the surfactant, are mixed at a point which is the interaction point at a very high velocity. This method is also called as submerged jet principle method, and it results in better uniformity, small size with larger reproducibility of the formulation. In reverse phase evaporation method for preparation of neosome, we take a vessel. In this vessel, we add cholesterol, surfactant, which are dissolved in a mixture, usually the mixture of organic solvent using ether and chloroform in 1:1 ratio. Now to this vessel, we carefully add the aqueous phase containing the drug. The two phases, when are coming in contact, they are resulting in a formation of a two-phase system, which when subjected to sonication at around 4 to 5 degrees centigrade, ultimately we are left with a product which is a gel kind of a product. Further subjecting this product to sonication, we are forming the neosomal vesicles which are hydrated by adding more of the buffer medium in order to form a vesicle structure. To harden the formed vesicles, we further subject the prepared vesicles to heat at a temperature of around 60 degrees centigrade for 10 minutes to form the stable neosomes. As you can see in this slide, the preparation of neosomes by reverse phase is indicated. First, we take the lipid, the cholesterol and surfactant dissolved in the organic solvent. Then aqueous phase containing the drug is added. The second diagram indicates the formation of two phases in such a way that water in oil emulsion is formed. Once the emulsion is formed, it is subjected to evaporation of the solvent under reduced pressure or at low pressure. Thereby, a gel state is formed. Once the gel state is formed, further removal of solvent results in the formation of neosomes. Ether injection method. In this method, cholesterol and surfactant are dissolved in diethyl ether. Drug is dissolved separately in methanol, and both the solutions are mixed and then added through 24 gauge needle into a hydrating medium at 50 to 75 rpm and temperature 60 to 65 degrees centigrade. By maintaining the rpm and the temperature, the resultant mixture is a neosome formulation. Henjani-Villa method. It is the oldest method for preparation of neosomes. Here, lipid or lipid mixture with an aqueous solution containing active substance is homogenized at a controlled temperature by means of ultracentrifugation or agitation. Now, the novel methods which are used to make neosomes. Amongst the different methods under novel method, the first one is a membrane contactor method. As the word is indicating, here a membrane is there between the organic phase and the aqueous phase. When the contact of the organic phase with the aqueous phase is taken place, formation of neosomes take place. Precisely in this method, the organic phase is consisting of cholesterol, the drug and the surfactant all dissolved in ethanol and maintained at a pressure in a vessel, and that pressure is generated through nitrogen gas. The aqueous phase is pumped through a pump onto a Shirazu porous glass membrane, also called as SPG membrane. When the organic phase comes in contact with the aqueous phase, after permeating through the pores which are available on the membrane, the neosome vesicles are formed. These formed vesicles are then made stable through stirring on magnetic stirrer at least for 15 minutes. This particular method is useful for production of large scale of the neosomes, and especially it has been tested for caffeine and spironolactone neosomes. The another novel method which is used to make the neosome is a proneosome method. In proneosome, as I indicated earlier also, these are the proneosomes which are in a dry state, so they are more stable. But here, in making neosomes from proneosomes, we have to make first a slurry. Slurry is nothing a suspension of the components in the solvent. So what we do, we take stock solution of surfactant like SPAN 60 and we add cholesterol in this stock solution, and this stock solution is made in a mixture containing chloroform and methanol, usually in a ratio 2:1. Now, from this stock solution, we separate out the alicate in which all the components are present, and we add this alicate to a round bottom flask containing the carrier, usually the maltodextrin or sorbitol. If it is required to maintain the consistency, we need to incorporate more of additional amount of the solvent, that is the mixture of chloroform and methanol, to form the slurry. Once the slurry is formed, we subject the slurry to slow evaporation for the solvent, and for this we use the apparatus, the rota evaporator. Under the rota evaporator, the solvent is slowly evaporated and we maintain the temperature around 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. It should be the temperature lower than the transition temperature of the surfactant. Under these conditions, the solvent is made to evaporate slowly until we are left with a product which is a neosome. In this slide, the method of preparation of neosomes through proneosomes is indicated. The drug, surfactant and cholesterol mixture in the organic solvent such as chloroform or methanol is added to a vessel containing maltodextrin or sorbitol as a carrier. The mixture is then heated at 60 to 70 degrees centigrade to form a slurry. If it is required, additional volume of organic solvent can be added at this stage. Once optimal slurry consistency is obtained, the preparation is subjected to further heating at 60 to 70 degrees centigrade. This results in a formation of a proneosomal gel. The proneosomal gel is then transformed to neosome by hydrating with phosphate buffer saline of pH 6.8 at 80 degrees centigrade through gentle mixing. The neosomes are formed, which are then sonicated twice for 30 seconds using sonicator and are evaluated for optimal morphology. Multiple membrane extrusion method. Here, a mixture of surfactant, cholesterol and diacetyl phosphate is prepared. The solvent is evaporated using rotary vacuum evaporator to leave a thin film. The film is then hydrated with aqueous drug solution and the suspension so obtained is extruded through polycarbonate membrane of pore size 0.1 nm. The membrane is placed in series up to 8 passes to obtain neosomes of optimal dimension. As you see in this slide, the preparation of neosome is depicted. Here, in a funnel, we allow the mixture of drug, cholesterol and surfactant to pass through so that it is available in a beaker having polycarbonate membrane at the bottom. This membrane is having small pore size, usually in nanometer range. So, we allow the solution of the drug, cholesterol and surfactant to pass through this membrane. After passing the membrane, the extruded material which is obtained is collected in a vessel. This extruded material is the neosome obtained. Characterization of neosomes. Neosomes morphology, size and zeta potential. The first characterization for a neosome vesicle is for morphology, size and zeta potential. The neosome formation is first confirmed by transmission electronic microscopy called as TEM term gives the idea about the morphology as well as the indication of a particle size of the vesicle. Here, a drop of the sample of neosome is placed on copper mesh grid and is then stained with phosphotungstic acid. After drying, the photomicrographs are taken for size and morphology of the neosome. The particle size distribution of neosome formulations is determined by laser light scattering method. Zeta potential also is measured, which is an indicative of the stability of neosomes. Relatively small value of zeta potential indicates that there is little electrostatic repulsion between vesicles. The near neutral charge on neosomes is required for in vivo use, as large positive or negative charges show rapid clearance. For example, zeta potential values of the vesicles increase towards negative with increasing the HLB values of the surfactants. The neosomal vesicles formulated with sorbitol oleate were found to have the least zeta values ranging from -16 to -45 millivolts compared to the vesicles formulated with sorbitol laurate, showing higher zeta values ranging from -25 to -91. In another example, the surface energy was observed and it indicated that the energy tends to increase with increase in HLB values towards the hydrophilicity. Also, increase in the surface energy of vesicles leads to increased values of zeta potential towards negative. In continuation to the zeta potential values for observation of neosomes, it is observed that bridge 35 neosomes exhibited largest size, while the smallest size was observed in case of spans and tweens with trialkyl chains. The addition of span 80 or span 85 to span 60 decreased the vesicle size of prionosomes of benzocaine from 825 to 190 nm as indicated by Abdul Alim et al. 2014. The next characterization of neosomes include entrapment efficiency. From the neosomal dispersion, unentrapped drug is separated by centrifugation. The entrapped drug in neosomes is determined by complete vesicle disruption using 50% n-propanol or 0.1% triton X100. The resultant solution is then analyzed by appropriate assay method for the drug. Entrapment efficiency for the vesicle is calculated using the equation. Entrapment efficiency is equal to amount of the drug entrapped divided by the total amount of the drug whole multiplied by 100. It is observed that increased percentage of encapsulation of drug is attributed to the increase in the availability of lipophilic components, which can accommodate the drug molecules to a higher extent. Also, the increase in entrapment efficiency with increase in total lipid content was also reported by Abdul Qadir et al. Working on naltrexone neosomes. The entrapment efficiency of neosomes made from unsaturated alkyl chain surfactants was less than that one with saturated alkyl chain. Furthermore, trialkyl chains of neosomes showed higher entrapment efficiency compared to monoalkyl chains. Neosomes with long alkyl chain as high as C18 surfactants usage give higher entrapment efficiency and are more stable than shorter alkyl chain surfactants. Yet another parameter to characterize the neosomes is differential scanning calorimetry (DSC). DSC studies are carried out using differential scanning calorimeter for the samples such as drug, surfactant, cholesterol and neosomes. Usually 3 to 5 milligram of each sample is sealed thermetically in standard aluminum pans. Sample is then scanned between 30 to 200 degrees centigrade at a scanning rate of 10 degrees centigrade per minute using nitrogen as the purge gas. DSC thermogram of drug shows sharp endothermic peak at its melting point, usually span 60, and cholesterol show endotherms at 59 degrees centigrade and 128 degrees centigrade respectively. DSC thermograms of drug loaded neosomal dispersion exhibit endotherms with a transition. Absence of the melting endotherm of drug suggests that the drug must have changed from crystalline to amorphous state. It also suggests significant interaction of drug with the bilayer structure and can account for the enhanced entrapment of drug into neosomal formulations and a sustained drug release. X-ray diffraction. Solid-state characteristics of neosomes are evaluated by X-ray diffraction. X-ray diffraction spectra of the drug, neosomes and blank neosomes are recorded using a diffractometer equipped with an X-ray generator. Nickel-filtered copper target operating at a 40 kV voltage and 20 mA current is used at a scanning speed of 2 degrees per minute. Usually, crystalline drugs have characteristic peaks. The characteristic peaks of a drug is absent in its neosome formulation. For example, ramipril showed several high-intensity diffraction peaks signifying its crystalline nature. However, the diffused peaks of its proneosomal formulation indicated its amorphization. Infrared spectroscopy. Interaction and entrapment of drug into neosomal vesicles is studied using infrared spectroscopy, IR spectroscopy. Drug, its neosome and the blank neosomes are characterized by IR spectroscopy in the region of 4000 to 400 wave number using potassium bromide disk method. The IR spectra are compared to investigate the interaction of neosomes with the drug. FTIR study shows characteristic peaks of drug with respect to the functional groups present. All the characteristic peaks of drug are completely masked in the neosome formulation, suggesting entrapment of the drug into the neosomal vesicles. Stability. Neosome formulations are evaluated for stability by keeping them at 4 degree, 40 degrees centigrade at 75% relative humidity. At the end of 30, 60 and 90 days, each formulation is withdrawn and analyzed by a sensitive method of analysis such as HPLC. A graph is then plotted between log % of drug remaining versus time. The slope of the straight line from the graph is determined and degradation rate constant is calculated using the equation given below. The equation is slope is equal to minus k, the rate constant, divided by 2.303, where K is the degradation rate constant. For assessing the accelerated stability, the Neosome formulations are packed in a package likely to be used for their marketing. The packed Neosome formulations are stored at elevated temperatures such as 30 degrees centigrade, 40 degrees centigrade and 50 degrees centigrade for 90 days. The samples are withdrawn at intervals of 0, 30, 60, 90 days and analyzed for drug content. The log percent of drug remaining in the formulation is then plotted against time in days. The slope of the straight line for each temperature is obtained and degradation rate constant is calculated using the indicated equation. The effect of temperature on degradation is then studied by plotting log K value versus reciprocal of temperature, and this plot is called as Arrhenius plot. The value of K at 25 degrees centigrade is extrapolated from the Arrhenius plot and shelf life is calculated by substituting the value of K at 25 degrees centigrade in the given equation. The equation is T 0.9, that is the shelf life, is equal to 0.1054 divided by K 25 degree centigrade. In the previous equation, T 0.9 is the time required for 10% degradation of the drug and it is referred as the shelf life. Temperature plays a vital role in Neosome stability. Increase in fluidity of the bilayer with temperature promotes thermodynamic instability and the drug leakage as indicated by Satish et al. 2012. The next parameter for characterization is turbidity. The Neosomes are diluted with double distilled water to give a total lipid concentration of 0.312 millimolar. After rapid mixing by sonication for 5 minutes, turbidity, which is a measure of percent transmittance and also defined as optical density, is measured using spectrophotometer at 400 nm. In vitro drug release. It is the parameter used to assess the release of the drug from the formulation. Usually, dialysis membrane is used to hold the Neosome dispersion. This dialysis membrane is a membrane made of cellulose and is supplied by Sigma USA. In our experiment, we used dialysis bag of molecular weight cutoff 12,000 gram per mole and its capacity is 60 ml per feet with a flat width of 2.5 mm and the diameter 16 millimeter. The drug is placed in a membrane and is then placed in a beaker containing 100 ml of phosphate buffer of pH 7.4. This is used as a receptor compartment. The whole assembly is fixed in such a way that it touches the surface of the diffusion medium, the receptor compartment. The samples are collected and are analyzed against the blank and the percentage drug released from the Neosome formulation is calculated. The equation which is used to assess the percent drug release is given as percent drug release is equal to drug concentration in the sample multiplied by volume of the receptor medium whole divided by total amount of the drug. To report the results in percentage, the value is multiplied by 100. Usually, with Neosome formulations, a controlled release is observed as reported by Shaker et al. For the drug tamoxifen. The another parameter for characterization of neosome is in vitro skin permeation study. Here, the absorption of the drug through abdominal skin of star rat is assessed, and it is a measure of transdermal permeation of drug formulated in a neosome. The study is performed using France diffusion cell, which has two compartments, the donor compartment and the receiver compartment. The epidermal surface of rat skin is mounted between the two compartments such that stratum corneum faces the donor side of the cell. The sample is withdrawn from the receptor medium and is replaced with an equal volume of fresh medium. Samples are then analyzed for the drug content, and cumulative amount of drug permeated, that is milligram per centimeter square, is calculated and plotted against time reported in hours. Then steady state flux, that is JSS, is calculated as the slope of the linear regressed line at the steady state phase. Apparent permeability coefficient is also calculated from the observations, and according to the equation given below, the permeability coefficient is calculated as PAP is equal to JSS divided by C naught, where C naught is the initial drug concentration. Transition temperature analysis. Transition temperature is the temperature where we observe the transition in the neosomal structure. The transition temperature is studied because the bilayers of the vesicles are either in the liquid state or gel state depending on the temperature, the type of lipid or surfactant, and the presence of other components such as cholesterol. In gel state, surfactants with alkyl chains are present orderly, but in the liquid state, the structure of the bilayers is more disordered. So these components have characteristics gel to salt transition temperature. Also, phase transition temperature, that is TC of surfactant, affects entrapment efficiency. For example, SPAN 60 with higher TC provides better entrapment. The transition temperature analysis is studied through DSC. Now, to conclude the information available on neosomes, we have come to a point to say that these neosomes are the preparations which are prepared using the components like non-ionic surfactants, cholesterol, and the solvent, but these vesicles are prepared by the variety of methods indicated in the different slides. From the observation, it is concluded that the oldest method reported for the preparation of neosome is the Henjani-Villa method. And out of all the methods which are discussed in the presentation, the larger scale of production is possible with membrane contactor method. If we are interested to form the small vesicles, then we can choose multiple extrusion, bubble method, or membrane extrusion method to form these small vesicles. Usually, with these methods, we are able to have the multilamellar vesicles, which when are subjected to sonication, unilaminar small vesicles can be formed. Handshaking method, reverse phase evaporation method, and ether injection method are the simplest method for formation of neosomes at a lab scale. Once the formation of neosome is over, we have to characterize the neosomes, and we do characterization of neosomes for particle size, shape, morphology, stability, entrapment efficiency, and transitional temperature analysis in order to assure that the prepared neosomes will be showing better in vivo performance.